Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, criminal court, and other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Marianne Petrie. You can find me, my books, and blogs on dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com. And if you have a story to tell, you're welcome to contact me there as well on dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com. I have a return guest. I have Claudette Collins here from Canada. Now, she's a grandmother who is retired from healthcare and is a former Sunday school teacher in British Columbia, Canada. Now, the last time we talked, she was on season 5, episode 239. That was March 7th of 2025. Now, she has been falsely accused in Alberta courts without evidence by her oldest daughter. Claudette has evidence, but the courts won't look at it, and there has been court staff interference with the court files, removing names from files, withdrawing court applications without her knowledge, and delaying court dates and setting Claudette up to appear as if she forged her attorney's signature. Despite Claudette's evidence, the courts continue to ignore everything, and I think we all can relate to that when judges don't look at evidence. And I welcome you, Claudette Collins. I know you've got some updates, and we're going to kind of do a quick recap of what happened, and I welcome you back.
Thank you, Marianne. And thank you for being a pillar of strength for parents and grandparents abused in the system who are only speaking up to protect our children.
Well,
and
thank you.
it still absolutely blows my mind today that this is actually happening, in our society and against our children. So a little recap, of course, I'm in court with my daughter and false allegations because I reached out to a family friend who is an ECE teacher in Milton, Ontario, and asked for her help. She was going to report my daughter to CPS, and I asked her not to. I don't want my daughter to lose her kids. My daughter found out. They took off to Alberta, where her boyfriend has a legal assistant in the family, and her boyfriend's friend works for CPS. And the reason this is important is because we went from from British Columbia to New Brunswick, where her boyfriend's friend bought a home. You can look up Memram Cook, New Brunswick, July 31st, 2022. The house burnt down. It was arson. Well, I have the fire chief and the fire marshal recorded, as well as a builder. This is so important, stating that there were 2 men who built the fire close to the back of the house. In this 2.5-year systemic abuse by legal authorities, my daughter has blamed me of having something to do with starting the fire. I submitted to the court the evidence where she believes the owner did it. They're trying to say I accused the owner. I never accused the owner. I wasn't there to accuse the owner. I'm saying he was under suspicion of arson. But people with connections get away with crimes in Canada. And that's just the way that is. And it's just horrendous, because I did everything for my daughter. I supported her. Yeah, we've had arguments and stuff. But she lived at home with me with her daughter. She moved out when my granddaughter was 3. My granddaughter stayed with me 80% of the time. So to cut her off and not allow contact to me is emotional and psychological abuse. All I ever wanted was contact to my grandchildren. And there's no evidence against me except one end of an argument. They didn't want to see the rest. They just don't care. So anyway, I end up going to Alberta, applying in the courts there. At that time, I wasn't able to afford a lawyer. Legal aid set me up with a lawyer. I never met him. I never spoke to him. His assistant wouldn't even submit my affidavit or evidence to court. Judge Wilson places a mutual no contact order against me without evidence against me. He wouldn't even allow me to speak, to say, I never met this guy. He's not submitting my stuff, so I have a mutual no contact for 1 year against me. I'm upset, of course. So then I applied to the courts for, they told me that once they see the evidence, they would involve CPS and remove the kids. So I was applying for guardianship, shared guardianship. So they didn't end up in CPS. We don't want our kids in CPS.
No.
And so I made the application, and the court assigned court counsel Karina Gillies to me. She told me, and I have a lot of this in evidence, So almost everything I'm telling you, I have in evidence or recorded. Because I was in BC, court was in Alberta. Everything's through email, and I started recording the lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
And people that were standing on the side were recording the court. So we have Justice Pullman lying. We have her lawyer falsely accusing me. I'm not allowed to air it, but I'm not the one that recorded it. So whatever, we're dealing with corruption.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I get this, Karina Gillies tells me that I have to drive from or fly from BC to Alberta to ask permission to serve my daughter by email. Now she's got a mutual no contact order against me. I don't have her address. I don't know how to serve her. So I sell everything I have, and I do. And I drive to Alberta and appear before going to court. Karina Gillies helped me for over an hour with all my paperwork and stuff. And then I go to emergency chambers. They hauled me out of that courtroom, some guy down the hall. And some judge comes in putting his stuff on. No one else is there. And I asked permission to serve my daughter by email. And he goes, no, you need to hire a lawyer for that. And I was like, are you kidding me? I have to hire a lawyer to ask you to serve my daughter by email? I didn't realize the courts were corrupt yet. I walked out just defeated. Went all the way back home, hired Garrett Horvath from Kahane Law. I'll put their names out there. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And Garrett's like, wow, you've got a really good case. And I hired him then. This wasn't through legal aid.
Mm-hmm.
And with the rest of the money from selling my car, everything I owned, because I'm just on a small pension from healthcare and I can't afford a lawyer, but we're denied justice to access in Alberta unless you can pay. That's just the way it is. And
Wow.
so I hired Garrett. He just strings me along.
Mm-hmm.
Every court case. He does not submit my affidavit. He does not submit my evidence. He bills me for it. And my daughter's birth father, who was cut out of his life the exact same way, he has no contact with his daughter. She claimed he was sexually abusive to everyone. Oh yeah, and his parents were abusive.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, Garrett ends up not defending me, not doing anything for me. I'm getting really upset by this point. And he doesn't remove the restraining order like he says he's going to do. So the birth father emails him and says, do I need an affidavit for court? And Garrett's like, no, you don't. And then he bills me $80 for that. He's not your client. He's not with me. Are you kidding me? You're so corrupt. And so then Garrett's secretary, Miranda Asseltine, and I bring her out for this specific reason. She has posted on her social media that her friend was murdered after asking for a restraining order from the boyfriend, and the courts failed her and he murdered her anyways. Well, how dare you, Miranda Asseltine, post about the failure of the courts when you know that Garrett Horvath is systemically abusing me, obstructing justice, removing evidence. He removed my grandson's application. Oh, yeah. Well, they continually accuse me of not having one for him. Oh, yeah. And then Miranda sends me an email. Do you want Jesse Fear for a lower amount? We know you don't have a lot of money left, blah, blah, blah. I don't want any interference with my court. This is my granddaughter who's lived with me her entire life, who I tucked in at night. These are my grandchildren that I'm trying to protect. How dare you? And so suddenly I get Jesse Fear for $100 less an hour. So Miranda Asseltine is very privy to everything that's going on. So yeah, I'm going to call her out. And so then Jesse Fear goes to court, fakes a cold, and he says to me, you don't want them to lose their kids for impaired driving with children in the car, do you? Are you kidding? Tell that to Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. You're a lawyer. We go to court. I have to resend Jesse, even though he's Garrett's partner, all my information all over again. Send him everything all over. He doesn't defend me. Then Judge Pullman says, I'm going to give you permission to make an interim contact application because grandparents have rights. Well, not according to Glenda Campbell. And so I shouldn't jump ahead, sorry. And so he writes that, he says that. So I leave. Right after court, Jesse calls me. I record it. And I didn't realize that Jesse had left out of the court order, that I was granted permission to make interim contact to my granddaughter who lived with me most of life. So suddenly I get an email from a legal aid lawyer, Connor Farquhar. Now, Connor was going to take over my case. And I said, okay, well, when the money expires, or you can take over for my grandson. So in December of 2023, I messaged Connor and say, can you start my grandson's file? He doesn't respond. Suddenly in March, Connor is emailing me to ask if he should close my case or take over my case. Well, obviously, they got a hold of Connor. And I know that because I end up recording Connor later in a phone call, falsely accusing me and telling me lawyers talk to one another.
Oh, yeah, they
So
do.
I started getting wise. I started recording everything. And I've had
Hmm.
people sent to me pretending to be lawyers, pretending to be investigating my case. I've had my bank account hacked into. I've been set up on porn websites. Oh, yeah. And even the birth father, they sent CPP out to his house. Nobody filed a complaint. Oh, yeah. Talk about corruption. So Connor takes over. And then he says, well, I can't make the application for contact because it wasn't in the court order. I just about lost my mind. Are you kidding me? He said, I can only represent you for trial in a year and a half. Everybody's trying to get trial as far away as possible.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So
So
then
they could
Connor
drag the
does that.
case out.
Oh, yeah, that was the whole plan. And then drag it to the bitter end where I have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for court rights to make an appeal. Oh, yeah, they know what they're doing.
Oh, they do.
And so, mhm. And so then Connor just doesn't, he gets my affidavit ready. And then he tells my ex-husband, he says, I don't need your affidavit for court. I was allowed 3 witnesses. He doesn't contact my really good friend Sherry Tilley. He tells my ex-husband, I don't need your affidavit and your witness statement. He removes all my evidence except my daughter's messy trailer, the evidence from the private investigator who called my previous landlord saying my granddaughter lived with me. Oh, yeah, they removed all my evidence.
Mm.
I was getting mad. So Connor's like, well, if you put this in or that in, that's going to make you look vindictive. What a liar. He put stuff in to make me look vindictive. So I applied to the court. I applied to the court as a no. I emailed Jesse Fearback and said, why did you leave this out of the order? And of course, I'm grief stricken, right? I'm traumatized and grief stricken. And so I'm like losing my mind here. And Jesse wouldn't answer me. So
Mm.
Garrett sends me an email, tells me to go get the court transcript. Well, that's all they want is money. And
Hmm.
because our courts launder families for profit, that's all it's about, and abuse our children so that they are relying on mental health medication, big pharma, you name it, depression, suicide. That's all
Hmm.
that's about. It's a big laundering system. And so anyway, Garrett sends me an email, says, I'll help you with this. And I said, okay. And then he sends me this application and says, just change the dates, pardon me, and send this in. So I did. And my daughter's lawyer, Rachel Akbaro from Shields Law, man, any parent out there that's a narcissist that wants to destroy their kids, that wants to cover up child abuse, that has a lawyer that'll lie in court and destroy you, Rachel Akbaro in Alberta, BC is one for you. Do you
Yeah.
know she literally got her husband, I'm living in BC, to write a witness statement against me and handed it to the judge to read. She took him to read it, but she didn't submit it because I said, then I submit it. Oh, yeah.
Mm.
These lawyers and justice system in Canada is so corrupt.
Mm.
And when Trudeau was in, he appointed liberal judges. Even our appeals, I just found out, is a liberal judge. There's no hope in hell I will ever get justice in
Mm.
Canadian courts under any of our politicians or government. And so
Oh.
anyway, so I get in trouble for all of this.
Mm.
And then Connor was going to quit. And then he said, I'll do the interim contact. He doesn't. He ignores me. So so the court resolution says to write Justice Pullman, secretary, and CC the lawyers involved. So I'm thinking lawyers involved are Garrett and Connor because they're the ones doing this. I mean, I'm sorry, Garrett and Jesse. So I do that, and Justice Pullman writes me an email. Thank God I lived in a different country, and I mean a different province. It is not proper for a self-represent litigant to email the judge privately. Liar.
Mm.
I went public. Court resolution said we've been doing it that way for years. So, like, these judges are lying and covering up crimes. And so, anyway, no lawyer in Alberta will touch my case. But I can't even get pro bono. I can't get the legal free help. No one will touch me. No one.
Yeah, because it
That's
gets
pretty
it
bad.
gets around. I that happened to me too.
Yep. I couldn't get any type of legal help, no legal advice. QB filing blocked me in March, right after I spoke with, so that I couldn't So I could not submit my case letter for court. I had to get my sister to do it. Got evidence of all this. Oh yeah, they're so corrupt there. So once I public, they ended up escalating me to Daryl Others. Now Daryl Others, and I spoke of him before, and I've learned a lot of stuff about him, but I'm not going to talk about it on here. But he decided he's going to micromanage my account now. So he's going to micromanage everything, make sure no claims get through. So what they end up doing is Connor, I have no lawyer, I have no help, and they reassign me to Karina Gillies. And Karina Gillies, court counsel, says, you have to start all over, and gives me everything all over again. I said, oh, no, I'm not. Oh, no, I'm not starting over.
Brother.
I said, I'm supposed to, oh, yeah, interim contact. Well, they're removing my files. They're removing evidence. They're removing everything from the court. I have nothing to support me. They want to make me look like I'm a vexatious litigant, right? And so, thank goodness I had copies of everything. So I started recording Karina Gillies and, pretending she's on the phone to CPS and, all this stuff. And then she gives me the guardianship, all these applications. I said, I want interim contact to my granddaughter that Justice Pullman gave me permission for. Well, then pay. You have to pay. No, I'm not paying. And so I got a recording though, I want to hear it. And so anyway, I'm set up in emergency chambers before Justice Oliver Ho, and just always like, where's no names? They took my daughter's name, they took my grandchildren's name off, got the evidence. That's a 69-page email. They removed all my evidence. Are you kidding?
Oh, I believe that.
You're covering up child abuse, child endangerment. Yeah. Are you child neglect? Are you kidding me? So I'm really angry by the point, and I will not be quiet because this isn't just about getting back at my daughter. I don't want my daughter to lose her kids. They need type of counseling. What I want is our children protect in family courts and have no protection against, criminal lawyers and criminal judges who only care about money. They don't care about our kids. So this fight has now become about our children in not just Canada, but worldwide. How dare a justice system destroy our children? Exactly. So I'm not going to be quiet. Yeah. So the last I spoke with you was March, and I was still pretty devastated. I was staying in a Soyuz that time with my youngest daughter, and I was trying to get things ready for court. The stress had taken its toll. I started having I couldn't eat. My small intestine has almost completely collapsed. They said it has to be removed.
Oh, no.
And I was hemorrhaging, and I asked the courts, can I please extend this? And her lawyer, just claws out, denying it. So the birth father was going to allow the extension, and she got mad at him and told him off and said she was going to take him to court and get child support from him. Yeah, I said, I'll back you. I'll back you. I said, the courts are corrupt anyways, just back off and leave them alone. And she's just nasty. And so anyway, they wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't allow me time to submit because I was allowed witnesses. It says in the court order, the courts are corrupt. So then I have to drive all the way to Calgary again. And lots of people are looking at me because by this time I've gone on LinkedIn, I post evidence. I don't care anymore. If I was watching any type of criminal action or the mafia or anything else that our law says we have a legal obligation to report, you're going to be right on that. But you expose corruption in family court, man. I have been stalked. I have people following me out here. The owners where I rent here, the fabulous people, they know what's going on. And they're like, there's people coming in our yard. Oh, yeah.
That's scary.
Oh, yeah. This is pretty bad. My nephew committed suicide quite a few years ago, and they had someone pretending to be my nephew messaging me. How sick are these people?
That is sick.
It is. I've got all the evidence. So,
oh my goodness.
Anyway, I shared before. Yeah, I got my niece to come with me. They deny my Mackenzie friend. So it's my niece, my youngest daughter, and then my granddaughter's father. And I've sent him pictures of my granddaughter that he's never had. And they're mad now because he's sitting on my side of the court. No one talks to us. No one tells us what to do. Judge Campbell, Glenda Campbell comes in. Man, I don't know what you call those sociopathic narcissists that can act like they're so professional. And she literally wrote almost verbatim my daughter's accusations in the court order, she lied. She lied and said I only made one application. I was able to submit two. Oh yeah, she lied. They dragged that court out and in the end said that I kidnapped my granddaughter twice because my daughter sent a text message to her boyfriend when she was mad at me for not dropping her off because she wore a chemical product in my scent-free home.
Hmm.
But that's just the way she's always been.
Hmm.
And so she sent that message to her boyfriend. So they used those texts between them
Yeah.
that I kidnapped. Where did I go? So where did I go? Here's my evidence. Oh yeah, you're removing that. Just like they removed the evidence of my daughter saying, if I take this route, she will go to court. She's got all the legal help she needs to make sure I never see my granddaughter again. My daughter's boyfriend, Dustin J. Hewer, his brother-in-law, Franco Greco, is a legal assistant in Burnaby, BC. So they got all the legal help they need. I've got his sister falsely accusing me in court of driving impaired with my granddaughter in the car. I've got the evidence from Google that says I never left her home when I stayed there once to visit. Like the accusations are baseless. There's nothing but false allegations.
Hmm.
Nothing against me, but one argument. An argument that started with my youngest daughter and my niece's youngest daughter. And my niece got mad and said she was going to report to the birth father where my granddaughter was. So I told her, I'll report you to your abductor then. Right?
Yeah.
Just so she knew how it felt. My daughter wouldn't even go out in public. She was so pretended to us that she was afraid because the birth father was a sexual abuser. So she stayed in hiding. And we believed her. I've
Hmm.
apologized to him. I've given him a big hug. I am so sorry that I believed that without evidence.
Hmm.
Rob's a little girl of her life. So I'm guilty of that, but I apologize. What else could I do?
Right, right.
And so, anyway, and then Judge Campbell looks and says, I am uh, racist. I'm violent. She's saying all this stuff and literally lying, right? And bring up the evidence that I was allowed to sit in court. And my daughter admits that she left her daughter alone in a trailer at 3 years old, taking care of horses. Like the stuff that they admitted in court blew my mind.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I get the court order the end of July. She waits 3 months to tell me this. I told her in court, I'm moving here for June 1st. So I moved to Alberta June 1st. And she writes that I said I wasn't moving. Like she's such a liar. These judges need to be in jail.
Right.
There's children involved here. You're violating the child. You're violating me, but you're violating these children. How dare you?
And they
So
don't
it
care.
just really, nope, they don't care about our kids. They don't care. And so it's the New World Order agenda, right? Destroy the family, create mental health. Here's Premier Danielle Smith. I've called her office for 2 years. I've written her office for 2 years. Finally, just a few months ago, they emailed back saying, well, Premier Smith is too busy to read emails. However, we'll forward this to the Justice Minister. I'm like, okay, and
Yeah.
so once I get the letter back from Justice Campbell's secretary, I wait 2 days before I read it. And I write a letter right back to her. How dare you? I have been denied due process. I said in court that these lawyers are systemically abusing me. I provided evidence in this court that her friend and myself were reaching out to protect the kids. How dare you? Sorry, our laws mean nothing anymore.
Mm-mm.
They're only used against the innocent to control us and to destroy justice in Canada. They're not here to protect us. They're not. So yeah, I don't care. I wrote a letter back because the moment Judge Glenda Campbell that you put your pen to paper and lied, you became a criminal. You are no longer a judge, and I refuse to obey your order. How dare you? It was your duty to call an investigation. I said all that to her. I don't care. She's not a judge. I don't respect her, and I don't respect the judicial system in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So here we are. We live in Strathcona County, Sherwood Park, Alberta. Beautiful. People here are beautiful. It's
Mm.
like the North Pole. It's so cold here.
Oh no.
But I've met amazing people. I've gone out in the public. I'm telling people everything that's going on
Yeah.
publicly. This is the best way to reach people. And here's the evidence if you want to see it. People are like, wow, what about Premier Smith? Shouldn't have time for us. If anything, straightening out the justice system removes money from Alberta, from the big mental health facility that they're opening. Oh, yeah. So,
Mm.
no, she's not going to respond. She'll fight the federal government for everything, but not our children in family court who are violating us and abusing us. So, my daughter and I were out yard sailing I'm a big thrift shopper, and so I
Yeah, me
love it. I love
too.
yard sale. Yep. And so we're out yard sealing, and oh my goodness, can you imagine? I can't talk about the sensitive part of it. Okay, so I have to try to disconnect that because it's real hard for me still. But I see my daughter, the one I gave birth to, and my granddaughter at a bus stop. Well, I just about, I was like, oh my God, we're going, my youngest daughter and I were like going crazy. I said, grab your camera, start filming them, but cars were coming. So I quickly turned around and she goes, I just want to hug them. I said, get out. I said, but film it. And you could hear just part of that conversation at the end. And she gets out and she runs across the street, 20 years old. She was with this child almost her entire life. They are best friends. They were inseparable. Are you
Mhm.
kidding me? She's not allowed to tell her she hugs her. So that's online. My
Mhm.
daughter filed a restraining order against me for seeing them publicly. I'm in the car. The video shows I'm in the car. I'm waving. I tell my granddaughter I love her. I'm not going to tell my daughter that I love her because she needs counseling. And
Mhm.
so I pull ahead. My daughter gets out. I pull ahead, and the whole video shows it. I've got two actually. And Emily's running across, wanting to see her. My daughter won't allow it. She even points up to my car saying she's abusive.
Oh,
And we go to court, and Judge D. Mull. I just went to court Monday. So I
mhm.
showed up in person. They didn't, of course. They got to hide behind the camera.
Oh
And
yeah.
uh, I'm brazen. I don't care. This is not a court of law. This is a corporation of criminals, and I will not bow down to criminal activity, regardless of what you have written on your name. You're not honorable. You're not a justice. You're a WEF. You know, you work for the cabal. That's
Mhm.
the way I see it. So anyway, so we go into court, and her lawyer talks and starts. She becomes unhinged, literally.
And
I
this is a
wish I would have
judge?
stayed home. No, my daughter's lawyer, Rachel, same lawyer.
Huh.
She becomes unhinged and says, she's recording us right now. She filed to the Law Society. You know, she only made one application and she's like going around in circles. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this lady? She's
Right.
so unprofessional. And I said, Rachel, you are a liar. You're a lying in this. I said, Judge, she's lying in this, and that's against the law. He
Uh-huh.
didn't care. He literally looked at me and said, well, I'm going to use you. I said, here's the evidence. You won't let me show the video. Here's screenshots. He goes, well, I'm going to use your evidence. Judge Glenn Campbell wrote, uh, and I'm going to use that to say that you're harassing her, you're stalking her, and you're psychologically abusing your granddaughter. I said, well, judge, not justice or honorable, Judge Mom, I guess that depends what side of the law you're on. Are you on the side of the law where the rule of evidence and the rule of law counts? I said, or are you going to continue the systemic abuse against me? He
Oh,
goes, write down harassment, write down stalking, write down a restraining order. Right? And I thought I had to remove myself. I was going to lose my shit. Sorry.
that's all right.
I believe in the creator and I believe we're going to answer for the rest, but you bastards, you are controlling, manipulating, and abusing me. And I felt that I had the legal right to remove myself from the place where I am being psychologically abused by lawyers and court staff and a corrupt criminal corporation abusing us and failing to protect our children. I looked at Judge Ma then and I said, you are corrupt and I am not staying in this corporation of criminals. And I folded my book. I walked out. My 20-year-old daughter, she's such a nice young lady, broke down crying because her lawyer started attacking her that she was not my daughter. She was adopted. How dare you? Go back to your own country. Don't come here and belittle my daughter because she's adopted. Like,
Gee.
that's what I'm saying. This is sociopathic narcissist, And so so my daughter looked at the judge and said, how dare you? That's a little girl. Pardon my French. You're fucking corrupt. And I turned around when I was heading to the door and I said, don't swear in court. Let's
Oh,
go. No.
yeah.
And I walked out. And it's like, this is not a court. I
No.
am not accepting their order. They're trying to make me pay for all the fees for my daughter and her boyfriend to flee for safety from New Brunswick to Alberta. Oh, yeah. They want me
Mm.
to pay for everything. I'm not paying for anything.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
This is not a court of law. These are criminals. Justice Wilson, Justice Pullman, Justice Ho, Justice Glenda, Judge Glenda Campbell, and Judge Ma, you are all criminals. You need to be arrested and you need to be in court. You need to be in jail for child abuse.
Now, weren't you saying that Glenda was the worst one?
Oh, yeah. And that blows my mind. In a world where women fought, we live in a male world. We have fought so long for independence and for rights. And you got some woman, sorry, that to me, she's a sociopathic
Oh, yeah.
narcissist. Lie and manipulate in court and fail to protect these kids. A woman judge. How dare you? You know, Alberta just to put this thing online about these women who fought for our justice system. And I said, yeah. And then we got Glenda Campbell destroying everything they fought for. How dare you? Same with Miranda Asseltine, McGillies, Premier Smith. How dare you not protect our children? So I don't care. Oh, yeah. And by the way, I'm not suicidal. So as they continue to stop me, I've had to go in hiding because my daughter and I, and the neighbors are watching as well, and we have video. My daughter and I were down at the corner, and we had cars on both ends of the streets just sitting there watching us. It's like, what is wrong with you people? Oh, yeah. There's some civil liberties group, or I forget what it is. I posted it on my social media. He pretended to be a lawyer, and he was looking into my case. I've had another female lawyer call me saying the Law Society to her. However, the Law Society did open up my complaint against Garrett, Jesse, and Connor. Now, the rule of law, these guys should be arrested. They should go to jail. I just recently met John Carpay, fights constitutional law. Well, the Law Society just removed his license because he hired a private investigator. The Law Society of Alberta just removed license. He hired a private investigator to show that this judge was not obeying the COVID downs while he was punished people for not obeying lockdowns. So John Carpay lost license the Alberta Law Society for that. Well, that should mean that they take the law seriously. So these lawyers are going to be going to jail for obstruction of justice for attempting to frame me of forging your signature, Garrett. You know, like, so we're waiting to compare, and I'll be back with the results. I'm actually waiting to see if Judge Ma is going to send me a gag order because Rachel Luckbo is trying to get that against me because they don't like that I'm exposing their corruption. I don't really care. I just don't care.
Well,
Justice Minister Amory blocked me.
They need to speak out.
The Justice Minister. Yeah. And then someone told me that I had to file a complaint against Judge Campbell to the Chief Justice of Alberta. So I emailed him a complaint. I can't remember his name. It could be Tanner James Hunter, I think it is. And he ends up sending to King's Court bench to Earl Ruthers, who I complained about in that complaint. Oh. I have filed against Daryl Ruthers as well, but he, from what I understand from a lot of people, he's kingpin bring up corruption King's Court bench. Oh, but you're going to have to this one. When I went to court, I talk everyone in the public. I tell everyone what's going on. And so, because it's important for the public to know how corrupt judges and lawyers are. And so I had some guy up to me and say to me, I work in King Court bench. He said, that last murder, all the evidence stairs, he did it, and the judges are covering it up.
Hey, said, good. Could you repeat that? Because you were breaking up.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I've got poor service. I said, on my way into the courthouse, I met several people. And the one person I met, he told me that, I told him, I said, they like me and he's a whistleblower. He said, okay. He said, I work in the courthouse. In the basement of the courthouse is all the evidence of the last murder, and the judges are covering it up and letting these men get away with murder.
Scary.
I wish I would have recorded it. Got him in trouble, but, you know, I've tried to rally people up to just stand in front of the courthouse, and I said, bring your evidence, not talk about them, see evidence of corrupt they are. And I tell everyone, record everything. It doesn't matter what you think. This is a corporation of criminals. We don't owe them anything. Sign whatever you want, show people, go public. You know, we've got to expose it, and we're not expose it by living in fear. Right. And so they're afraid of our government, our RCMP, our politicians. Yeah, that's pretty bad in Canada.
I hear
the once peaceful country.
What a shame.
Yeah. No one, human rights, ombudsman, our constitutional rights, nobody protects us in family court. It's almost like there's a free-for-all. So
Yes.
the way that I see it now is our courts are laundering families for profit. It's a new world order beast system. So they create mental health, which feeds big pharma, drug addiction, crime, CPS, child trafficking, suicide made, and organ harvesting. Canada has the largest, we're top for organ donations in the world, and there's a demand still. So yeah, I see this as the new world order beast system. Are they going to come after me? Probably. Do I care? No, because before my creator, I will wash my hands clean of the blood from these evil people destroying our children.
Yeah. It's
So
very scary. People, I know this is going
yeah,
to sound horrible when I say this, but I don't think it's a safe place to bring a baby into this world.
no, my youngest daughter said that. She goes, Mom, I'll never have kids. She said, when
Oh,
I
yeah.
see what's going on, she said, it's not safe anymore. I said, I know. So, and look at, and I'm a grandma. And a lot of times people get upset when they hear my story, but they don't realize I'm not a grandma trying to take my grandchildren. I was a grandmother to protect them. I had begged, and begged my daughter for counseling. I had asked my lawyer to ask for counseling, to ask for an advocate. They don't care. It's not about protecting our kids in Canada anymore.
Mm-mm.
So
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah, we've got rogue judges over here as well. Yeah, they're, and it's really weird. I'm going to say something really, I don't want my dads to get upset, but like we've got judges that will say favor mothers, or we'll have judges that favor dads. But it's
Right.
really weird, and that a female judge would crucify a mother. I know I don't want my dads to hate me, but I'm trying to explain a psychological, sociopathic, why they're doing this, because my child support judge was a female. And luckily, thank you, Jesus, she's off the bench. Wink, wink. And
Yeah.
the thing is, how can they treat a woman like this? And in the same breath, I'll say for my dads, how can a male judge treat a good, decent father like this as well? Am I
Yeah.
making sense? Probably not.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But it's just, they're all, see, this is
But,
why I think these
but
judges need psychological evaluations.
oh yeah. And I don't think, and I think that we have to cameras in the courtroom. We
Mhm.
have to. He needs to protect us. This is going to, do you know, Judge Ma looked at me and I said, look at the evidence. There's ACLU for Karina Gill. There's 4 at the Law Society. I said, and I even, filed with EJC. And he, well, it looks like to me, all you do is complain.
Oh, me too. Don't feel bad.
Oh, what do you do? Beat your wife? Like, all you look at is what do you guys all have? There is in child trafficking and CPS in big pharma. What does it used to have? You're so willing to destroy these children. You take a little girl that's lived in my home that I tucked in. She wasn't allowed to sleep in mom's for 10 months because of the new baby. Like, I tucked her in every night. I tucked her in when she was sick, and you cut her off. You don't expect that trauma's affect her? How dare you?
Yeah.
I love my daughter, but I don't see her in the same light in her. I see her as a child abuse because you're willing to hurt her to cover up when all I've done is protect you. I moved across country several times for you to help you because she didn't want kids, but she loved her daughter.
Mhm.
I didn't do anything without her permission, but
Right.
evidence doesn't matter. And she's got a boyfriend who she believes was involved in burning down his CPRN's house.
Huh.
So I've got all that in text messages. They made sure that didn't make it to court. There's a lot more I can say, but I have to protect my granddaughter because I think personally that she's only gotten this far because of the boyfriend. I don't think that she would have gone this route
Mhm.
at all. But when you get a lawyer in the family and you're used to getting away with crimes, you're just going to continue the crime spree, aren't you? Especially when you have connections.
Oh, definitely.
And yeah, so that's the way I see it. So
Oh, this is
I'm not
terrible.
going to be quiet about it. So we're getting ready to get all the videos because they're going to put a gag order against me. I'm releasing everything.
Hmm.
Because if you're going to arrest me, you're going to arrest for a damn good reason.
Oh, this is scary. It's just terrible that
Yep.
this
Yep.
is not justice anymore. I don't know where,
No.
I don't know where Lady Justice went,
Yeah. She doesn't exist anymore. They've dismantled her anyways. Like you said, dismantling family court. Well, they've dismantled justice.
Mhm. Right, right.
Oh gosh. So
Yeah.
yeah, I own that book as well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
terrible what they're, you know, I know people, and I said, I think I said this in the last three podcasts, so I totally apologize, people, but they say, well, you should blame the judge. The judge is the problem. I said, okay, so you can say the judge is a problem, hold them accountable, but you also have to hold the offending parent responsible and be accountable. Everybody's got to be held
Absolutely.
accountable and not just put it all
Absolutely.
on the judge. Uh, well, I guess you do put it all on the judge, but I'm just saying that offending parent has to be held accountable. It's just,
And I agree. Like it's child abuse, of course, and it's Mary Kovac says it quite a bit. I always forget the
yeah, I love
terminology.
Mary.
Yeah. Yeah. I've talked to her several times. I really like her. She's just doing an interview now on another woman that they're going to arrest. And it's like, oh my gosh, you can't speak up in Canada. Well, watch me.
Mhm. Yeah,
I just don't care. I don't care. I will be the voice for our children. Her lawyer said to me, "You would call CPS on your granddaughter?" I said, "No, on your daughter." I said, "I would call CPS on every person in this room if you hurt a child."
right, right,
The judge doesn't like that. You got to ask why. What are they involved in that they don't
right.
like you to bring this out? Well, there's something else Judge Moss said as well, and I just thought, man, you are so corrupt. You're just so corrupt. Like I cannot wrap my head around it.
Mhm.
So as soon as court was over, my first thought was I went outside. I started talking to a lot of people. We started sharing a lot of stories. And I went to this one big rec center and told them all what was going on in the courthouse, including the murder. I told them about Justice Minister Amory, a friend of mine here in Alberta. He campaigned for Danielle Smith. He campaigned for Danielle Smith. He's got a court file. Justice Minister Amory fired the politician who signed for an ACER child trafficking investigation in CPS. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Justice Minister Amory was a real estate lawyer selected for the Ministry of Children's Services and then selected as the Justice Minister. And you're firing a politician who's investigating child trafficking?
Oh,
Are you kidding? I know the father. So, oh yeah,
that's
I'm not going to be
terrible.
quiet. Mm-hmm. This is Alberta. Premier Smith, the freedom fighting Premier Smith.
Oh,
I feel
gee.
like I feel like she has deceived Albertans from the get-go. Absolutely. So how
What
dare
is,
you?
oh,
Yeah. So
yeah,
yeah, and that incident also involves Daryl Ruthers. So okay, guys, let's start speaking up. And if they're afraid, then I'll speak up for you because I don't care. I'm a 61-year-old grandmother. They take me out, I'm not going down without a fight. Period.
mhm,
That's just the way it is. My granddaughter will grow up one day. Actually, we were discussing writing a book because I have so much evidence that supports my claim.
mhm.
And I spoke with a journalist in Ottawa. And you know what she said to me? You write your book, and I'll launch it from a conservative viewpoint of the absolute corruption in family court under our liberal government. I said, all right.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I'm glad she'll do that for you. It's hard to get a
that,
journalist to do that.
yeah. Yep, that surprised me. But we'll see what the Law Society does. I challenge them. I challenge them because either the rule of law exists or it doesn't exist. The rule of evidence exists or it doesn't exist.
Right.
So I wrote a thing up saying, okay, Garrett did this, Jesse did this, these guys did this, John Carpe only did this, which is not illegal. How are you going to, handle this now? Since, pardon me again, sorry.
That's okay.
Since you're this strict with John Carpe, so how strict are you going to be with lawyers who are literally trying to frame me of forging their signature?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the lowest of the low.
Oh yeah. Yep. Oh, and they're making me pay. They're making me pay. oh, well, I'm not going to be quiet. Unless I'm 6 feet under, I'm not going to be quiet.
Hmm.
So I feel bad for my daughter, of course, my 20-year-old daughter,
Hmm.
but we've had to get cell phones in unknown names so we can have private conversations.
Oh,
I took my phone somewhere. They said, you got a trace on your phone. I said, I'm not surprised.
oh,
Yeah. It's like,
yeah, I've heard of these
yeah.
things happening.
Yeah. But you think about it though, this is like a Burnaby, BC lawyer contacting legal aid who started this,
Mm.
legal aid who covers up every single complaint I send. They never investigate any of my complaints. I got their stuff recorded, you know, and then you've got Connor Farquhar, you've got Jesse, you've got Garrett, you've got Miranda, you've got Karina Gillies, you've got Barbara of court resolution, QB filing, you know, just, and 4 judges. Yeah, they don't care what happens to me as long as I shut up. So
Yeah, and you
that's why I post.
right, because we were
I'm
talking
not,
earlier,
I'm
and
not.
you said you went through four judges, and the last one, the female was the worst.
Yeah, she was the absolute worst. Like, and man, what a what's the type of narcissist that can just save face and act so professional? She acted like that, like, you know, but partway through I could tell something's fishy here, you know, and I thought, okay, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. I want to make an accusation, and sure enough,
Yeah, I think, I'm not a psychiatrist or a lawyer, but it sounds like a dark triad narcissism, you know?
yeah, yeah. And you know, and it's so sad because my daughter's done this with everyone, you know, just most of her life. And I've tried since she was a teenager to get her counseling and stuff because I knew there's issues. If you won't talk to me, how can I help you?
Right,
Not that I was a perfect parent, but I've never been an abusive parent. I've raised my voice a few times when I shouldn't have for sure. But all I have to do is open the basement door and yell down, "Hey, you need to come up and feed your daughter." And then I'm being abusive for raising my voice to tell her to come. Yeah, that's how it
oh
works.
God, I'm
So
so sorry. Yeah, I
yeah,
noticed a trend where adult kids are turning against their parents and or moms
yeah,
or even dads that,
yeah,
it's the cancel culture.
it is. They're just being so heavily manipulated on social media. Like my youngest son Daniel, we've always been really close, but my daughter manipulates him, and I feel bad for him, of course. But he just cut all of us off because he didn't want to be involved. But he still talks to her. But she did the same thing to him. She didn't take him to court because she didn't have a court connection to do that. She did the same thing to her best friend Lydia, who's an ACE teacher, who literally lied against me in court, which devastated me because Lydia was like a niece to me. Oh yeah. So yeah, I don't care who you are. I'll call you out. All right. I'll put all the evidence there. But at the end of the day, there's stuff I don't say. I'm still trying to protect my daughter. I don't want her to lose her kids. She needs
Right,
help.
right.
But her
Oh,
boyfriend, he can go to jail as far as I'm concerned. But at the end of the day, those kids are the ones that suffer. They suffer if their parents go to jail. They suffer because of this. Still, not one of them care about these kids and the trauma. Like,
no.
that's what angers me the most. So,
No, and these judges don't care about the adverse childhood experience score, or
no.
they know about it, but they don't care about it.
Yeah, they don't. They don't care about anything but lining their pockets and protecting because judges were lawyers once, right? I
Right,
wrote about that on my LinkedIn. I don't keep anything uncovered. I just don't care. I don't know. Maybe, oh yeah, I'm not allowed to say I have Lyme disease in Canada, but I have Lyme disease. So ever since then, I just seem like I don't have a filter. And not that I'm rude to people, unless they're rude to me. And then I say, you're so rude. You know, I just call them out on it. I'm just myself. I am
right.
so tired of being manipulated. I came in a very cult religion who chose who I can marry, who chose when I can marry. You know, like yeah, it was very cult. They hid abuse, you know, like serious abuse. And then I started speaking up when I seen you're hiding pedophiles. Are you
Hmm.
kidding me? I'm not going to be quiet. So then I was rebellious. So
Mm.
I will never be silent when it comes to protecting the children. Jesus himself said, you know, and I believe Jesus was a man. I don't believe he was God. That's my preference, and whatever
Hmm.
people believe is their preference, right? At
Hmm.
the end of the day, we have to work out our own salvation with fear and trembling. So I just believe Jesus was a man, a prophet sent to tell us and warn us against specific religions. But he said it would be better for you if a noose, a millstone were tied around your
Yep.
neck and cast into a lake than to harm a child. All right, all you Christians. time to rise up and stand up. If you're a Christian, he also said to be a doer of the word and not a hearer. So why don't we rise up as Christians in Canada? These Christian law firms that refused to take my case after they found out who was involved. I just see them as hypocrites now.
Right.
These are our children.
Right. And I found another quote from Luke 11:46. Jesus replied, "And you experts in the law, woe to you because you load people down with burdens they can hardly carry, and you yourselves will not lift one finger to help them."
Oh, good one. I'm going to have to write that down then. And a lot of times when I post about her lawyer, I put on there, I quote to her because her husband's a pastor in Calgary and he wrote a letter against me. They wouldn't share it with me though, but Judge Campbell took a break to read it. But anyway, I always put on her post, woe to those who call evil good, Mrs. A. Woe to those who call evil good. You should be ashamed of yourself. You have become, anytime you become complicit and you cover up and fail to protect abuse to our children, you have become the abuser. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they're all abusers, all child abusers.
Yes. And it's gotten to that point where I don't even know when all that shifted. I think it could have been in the 60s all that shifted with these judges. Yeah, I mean there
Yeah,
are some
somebody
good
else was
ones.
saying that.
Yeah, I mean
I think so.
there are some good ones out there because I had two good ones and I think maybe three. Depending on the Superior Court, I don't know. I it
Yeah,
because there's three of them up there on the bench, but even in the state court I had two good ones. But that they're few and far between,
yeah.
you
And
know.
I made the appeal as well, and the appeal was accepted. And I have till December 22nd to get my, memorandum of argument up. I don't like to say argument, but my memorandum together and the evidence. But then I can waive all the court fees,
Hmm.
but I can't waive I have to have what do you call it? The transcript,
Uh-huh.
$3,400.
Oh
So
my
I'm being,
gosh. For a
and if
transcript?
I don't pay, yep, just for the transcript. And if I don't pay for that, I don't get an appeal. That's how corrupt our courts are.
That's really bad.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's what a lot of people complain about. There are parents living in their cars after the courts have taken absolutely everything from them and parents committing suicide.
Hmm.
Well,
Hmm.
there's the New World Order agenda, right? So
Yeah,
yeah. So, but
it's
anyway,
terrible, but I'm glad you spoke out.
mhm,
I'd like to have you back on for an update when you're ready.
I
You
will.
And, if anyone has any questions, how can they reach you?
I'm on LinkedIn under Claudette Collins if you want to reach me that way. I'm on my Facebook is private,
Hmm.
just because they were stalking me. Well, apparently there's still a few people in there stalking me, screenshotting
Yeah.
for her for court.
Yep. Yep.
and but and then of course if it's just you want to email me for any reason to be in contact, it's eccollins64@gmail.com.
Yeah, and I'll put that in the podcast notes. Thank you for speaking out. I know all of this is upsetting. And we were talking earlier about how you and I have anxiety. Well, no kidding, after what we've been through, you know?
I walk about 2 hours every day now, and it's really, really helped me. I do everything fast, which is so bad. I can't eat food anymore. I'm on a liquid
Mm.
diet. Yeah. And it's like they don't care.
No, no,
It's I'm, I'm
yeah.
not gonna let them win. I'm not gonna let them win. And Marianne, thank you because you are a pillar. You are literally a pillar that the Old Testament talks about. I can't quote it now, I don't remember it. I don't read my Bible anymore. And
Oh,
so pretty young woman, I've had a lot of them. Because I was researching religion for quite a few years. But thank you for being a pillar of strength for moms and dads and grandparents and those of us who have been abused, speaking up to protect our children. Thank you for that.
oh, will do. We're all in this together, and everyone should be speaking out, and it's
Yeah,
got to be done. If we don't
yeah,
talk about it and talk about it, then nothing will be done about it.
That's right. We have to be the voices that would have protected us as children.
Right.
And that's who we are.
Yes.
So,
Well, thank you.
warriors for our children.
Right. Thank you, but don't jump off, okay?
Okay.
Slam the Gavel is a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these courtrooms. I'm your host, Marianne Petrie, and you can find me on Spotify, YouTube. Please like and subscribe, Apple, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google, and other platforms even I don't know about. Again, feel free to buy me a coffee to help keep this podcast going. Thank you, Claudette Collins, from all the way from Canada, for speaking out. And it's a global issue.
It is. It
Thank
is. Thank you.